The biggest difference is that
while Scrum Master is a well-defined role in the Scrum Guide,
coach, that's a stance.
But it's a catch-all phrase, right?
Well, I usually tell people I sit and have coffee with a lot of people.
Jimmy Cards time. Jimmy Cards is a deck of cards with open questions designed to help a team get to know each other and to trigger exciting discussions. Sharing today are Staffan Nöteberg, Odhner, Grape, Viktor Cessan, and Wasse Wasielewski. My guests offer their interpretation of the question and shares an answer colored by their personal perspective and experience. Today's question is from the upcoming Green Deck, aimed for Agile coaches and Scrum Masters. And it reads, what does an Agile coach do? And how does it differ from a Scrum Master?
While Scrum Master is a well-defined role in the Scrum Guide, Agile Coach is not. There are only subjective references to what an Agile Coach is. But if let's say that an Agile Coach is someone that is supposed to amplify agility in an organization, then what an Agile Coach does is very dependent on the circumstances in that organization. So it won't be the same in a small organization or a big organization or an old organization or a new organization. However, the purpose is to make the organization more prepared to adapt to unexpected changes. Unexpected changes, not changes that you can expect. So for example, dependencies to limited resources, dogmatic ideas, and detailed schedules could be relaxed. And also more diversity will make your organization more resilient. To have a shared goal for the whole organization so that you don't compete with each other could be something.
Well, I usually tell people I sit and have coffee with a lot of people. That's my main job. But no, I think as a Scrum Master, you just take care of the stand-ups, the retros, and see that the team does Agile stuff. And as an Agile coach, you hopefully have a little bit more knowledge and a little bit more wisdom, and you can coach better. I think a Scrum Master can be a good Agile coach, but it doesn't have to be a good Agile coach. And thinking about Agile coaches, there are so many different ways of being an Agile coach. So I wouldn't say that this is the only way. But I think you need to be able to talk to the managers and understand the organization in a much deeper way than if you're a Scrum Master. And you also need to have knowledge of how to change stuff. And I prefer if you're a good coach, because I think that's really, really helpful. I'm not that into just following models. I think having a little bit of wisdom obviously helps.
That's a good question. But for me, Agile coach consists of two parts, Agile and coach. One of them, Agile, is a toolbox. These are Agile and lean principles, values, and practices that I use. And the other part, coach, that's a stance. That's how I approach problem solving. So I try to help guide teams and organizations and individuals to achieve their goals and the intention with what they're there to do. So for me, Agile coach is an overarching description. It's more of a skill set and an intended way of approaching things. It's not really necessarily a role. If an Agile coach is a role, it's more of a transitional role that you need in order to become an Agile organization. So there are many who in an organization should have Agile coaching skills, and Scrum Master is one of those roles. So a Scrum Master, yeah, it's an Agile coach, But I want all kinds of team coaches to be Agile coaches. I want managers to become Agile coaches. Domain experts like tech leads and architects, they also need to know how to be a coach and use the Agile toolbox. And the same thing for product people and anyone who's leading in an organization. So, yeah, that's my view of it.
There are a few different definitions of an Agile coach, but it's a catch-all phrase, right? It's like a manager. What does a manager do? And that can be lots of different things. So when we talk about Agile coach, there are these. People sometimes talk about this as a linear progression from Scrum Master to Agile team coach to Agile coach to organizational coach or to product coach. And all of these are different, and then facilitator. So all of these are different ways that people describe coaches, right? So what does an Agile coach do? It depends a little bit on what your organization needs and what you care about doing. But I would say that the three most common ones are either you are a Scrum Master or a team coach in one team, or you look at multiple teams, or you look at a bigger organization or enterprise. So you have these more than what they do is like what abstraction level do they look at? So team, multiple teams, or an organization or enterprise. And they work with like, how do we create agility within this? And some people unfortunately look at how do we install Agile in these different abstractions. But I would say that that's not an Agile coach, that's more a methodology installer.
The difference between an AC Agile coach and a Scrum Master, well, one major, the biggest difference is that a Scrum Master is traditionally more around Scrum and focus around getting the I don't know if it's called a framework, but the practice to get that to function according to its guidelines. An Agile coach has a more wider perspective, in particular around ways to work more with continuous improvement, way to work with different set of practices that has an Agile mindset, and generally speaking has also a wider perspective, not focused on one or two teams, but more having a wider perspective on the whole organization, the whole system that these teams and individuals belong to. I think that would be my shortest answer to that question.
Do you agree? Disagree? Do you have Agile coaches or Scrum Masters in your organization? Do you have both? None? Please share and comment below. Do you want to be part of a future Jimmy Cards episode, contributing with your perspective on one of these questions? Reach out to me on LinkedIn or here on YouTube and I'll tell you more. And until you do, explore, have fun, and be safe.